Hello and welcome back to another 3 a.m. production video. This is kind of my attempt at a visual podcast since I'm already drawing these characters and I love talking about these things. Why not do both at the same time? But this week, since it's Halloween, I figured I'd do a spooky episode and draw the Scarecrow from Batman's Rogues Gallery. He's pretty infamous in Batman's Rogues Gallery. His weapon of choice is something called fear toxin. It directly affects the amygdala of your brain through chemical compounds and will induce your greatest fear. He's used it on Batman over the years, in Gotham over the years, as not only as a means of revenge or making money, but also as a way of just testing fear itself. His trade is in fears and phobias. He was a professor of psychology at Gotham University until they kicked him out for his unethical experiments. Arkham Asylum, he did the same thing. Later turned to his life of crime and became the Scarecrow. In the animated series, they kind of took the same origin story of being a professor and being kicked out, but he was taking revenge upon the university and trying to bankrupt them and committing all these robberies. Well, he created his fear toxin, and Batman was exposed to it, and he starts seeing visions of his father and how disappointed his father is in the lifestyle that he's chosen. Later episodes, he would be exposed and locked in Arkham, and nobody would believe that he wasn't, in fact, trying to save them. There was an episode where Robin was affected, and all of a sudden, Highwire Dick Grayson became afraid of heights. Over the animated series, his visual representation would even change become a little bit more scary as the series went on, starting off as more of a ragdoll kind of a character and very Scarecrow esque, would become a little bit more creepy of a Scarecrow and a little bit more creepy of a Scarecrow. And then in season 4, they changed his appearance even more dramatically and got a new voice actor. And he becomes this more foreboding, serious presence, a little less whimsical, a little less moving around. Subsequently, the parallel in the Arkham games is kind of the same thing. In the first two games, he has the same appearance of having more of that whimsical kind of a style. He looks more like a rag doll. He's kind of tattered in clothes, and he has this gas mask Scarecrow. He wears a glove that has the syringes on it, and he injects. His presence in that game is more of I'm going to terrorize inmates and Batman and induce his greatest fears and watch what happens. In Arkham Knight, he comes back as the main antagonist of the game, and he's a little bit more serious. He's a different voice actor. He's been injured since the first game, so he's walking with a limp. He's not moving around as much. Parallels between the animated series and the Arkham games are just uncanny. Subsequently, this character was used in the Nolan trilogy for The Dark Knight, being the main antagonist of the first movie and working his way through the other movies as little smaller cameo pieces, but still a presence. In the comics, when he was first introduced, he only appeared in one issue, and then for about a 24-year stint, wasn't in the comics. His origin story dated back to when he was a school kid. I mean, he used to be bullied relentlessly by children. His parents didn't want him, so he lived with his grandparents, and they would torture him. His grandmother, especially, she would actually swap out his hygiene products with things that would attract birds, so birds would attack him every day. Eventually, he discovered this, and he reverse engineered her formula, and it became his first draft of a fear toxin. Scarecrow's obsession with fear has no bounds. He Over the years, he became so obsessed with it that his exposure to his own toxins and dealing with it so much desensitized him to fear, to the point that the only place he could feel fear was going up against Batman. Eventually, that didn't mean anything to him either. For a very small stint of time, after that happened, though, a couple years later, he was offered a chance to feel fear again through the Yellow Lantern Corps. But that was ultimately done in by Lex Luthor, so he sought revenge against Lex Luthor. But that was pre New 52, so that's kind of been retconned out. Well, thank you for listening to me talk. Hope you guys have a happy Halloween and get plenty of candy. See you next time.